Hello, this is the Ungoverned Records, and welcome back. This is our third installment of our beginner series of FL Studio tutorials. Today we're going to be focusing on the piano roll and recording and using a little bit of the playlist to a general, so we can start building up on our beats and stuff, and we're building up from our last episode on the channel rack. So let's get started. I've taken a couple of drum loops. Here we are, shuffling through two different patterns here, just a slight variation at the end of drum pattern 2. I've taken some drums from one of my latest beats, just to show us an example in here, and just to go through the piano roll. So let's open it up on a separate channel. This is just a snare. What we can do is we can either right click and go piano roll, or we can have the channel selected, go up here and either F7 or click this button, and we'll bring up the piano roll. So there we go. So it's going to say piano roll twice, because this is the piano roll, and then this is the channel we're on. So I could select through and go for a different channel. As you can see, I just go on the piano roll as it's blank. So this is a piano roll. From first off, there's our grid. There is our piano, well, our notes that we can see. There's C5, that's our root note, as I said before in the previous video. If we go on here, we go to the tool. You see here it says root note C5, and then you can see the piano, it's highlighted in blue. That is our root note, and everything that you pull into FL Studio on a channel rack, instruments, etc., they will be, the root note will be C5, and is where the piano roll will start, in the middle around C5. So we've got your general sort of drop down menu with your files and saving settings. You can anything you do within in the piano roll, you can save it. So you can save it as a score. So if you do a nice little piano piece, you can save that out into a folder within the FL Studio's directory, and then you can open that up in another project and use it in any other way on any different instrument or sound. You can also import MIDI files into the piano roll from outside. If you download some or grab some or buy some from anywhere, or if you're collaborating, you can just pull over a MIDI file and drop it straight in onto the instrument or whatever you're using. You can also export as a MIDI file. Again, if you're using a different program, you want to put it into another program, or if you're collaborating with someone or anything like that, you can export the MIDI, which is quite helpful. Yeah, some edit tools and stuff like that, and other tools like quantize and chopping and arpeggiating and strumming effects and stuff like that, and the other sort of general bits and pieces, which we can go into at a later date. So again, you've got the tool here, which shows you it's a quick access to your tool settings. You've got the Snapchat, which here we can like snap to different grid settings. So we can snap to the line still. We can have no snap settings for fine adjustments, and we can also drop these down in to different, like third of a beat, half of a beat, etc. I've got it snapped on the line. If I quickly jump over to as you can see on this hat 2 channel here, I'm using the hat in the piano roll instead of like pasting it in the step sequencer, because I wanted a different pattern for the hat. There's a quick switch up to get that sort of trap sort of snare roll, in a sense. I don't know what you call it, but where I'm sort of slowing the snares down. So instead of having it like there and there on the beat, it's actually, I did a different Snapchat and set into a third of a beat. There we go. If I switch over, it'll show you, and that gave that sort of like slowed down snare roll, or snare pattern as such. I'll show you quickly. Just quickly change back, and I'll close that down. So if I play this, I'll make sure I'm on pattern mode. You see that the snare sort of rolls over like do. Yeah, and I just changed one of the middle note down half a note, just to change it up and give it a bit more flavour as well. There's loads of little tricks and tips that you learn for different styles and stuff along the way, but today we're just going to focus on the piano roll. So let's right click piano roll. Let's go back. So just like some of these things can be taken the same with the playlist, same sort of principle. If I just quickly bring up the playlist as well here, you can see how a lot of these tools are fairly similar. You can see where the snap tool, the draw tool, paint tool, mute tool, slice tool and stuff, and zoom and things like that, and the way it's actually laid out is fairly similar in the way you interact with different elements within the playlist, and the notes within the piano roll is fairly the same. So if we were to like this is a snare, I think I've got it. Oh no, sorry, this is the piano that I'm on here. There we go, there's our piano, and we can click on these with left click, and then we can also just paste them down with left click and it will paint in a new note. And this is your time. This runs across your time, and each individual block here, you see where we've got 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. You can see here. So this is the first block. That's 1 to 2. That's slightly darker colour. Then will be 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5 as such. So 1 will be here right at the start, and 5 will be right at the end. So the space in which you're working with is there between that side here all the way across there. That's the length of this pattern of these 16 beats that I've got on this one. You don't have to stick to that regimentally. You can if you were going to record or make any piece, you could literally just keep going. So if I painted over here, it will stretch it out even more, and you can literally record like a whole piece all at once for however long you want. You could just keep like inputting as long as you want and make a whole track just within here, like if you were having a solo instrument. So painting is very simple. You can use your draw tool. You can use the mono paint tool, which will only allow you to paint if you're using sort of like bass lines. So I won't be able to put multiple notes on top of each other. It will just move it to any given note that I'm clicking on. So my next note I can't place anywhere above or below it, but just there. If I am to right click using the mono tool above or below the note, it will mute it or unmute it. It just saves jumping up here and muting it. To be honest, I don't really use the muting out notes. So if they're not going to use the note, I'm not going to use it, or I'll just mute the whole channel. So I don't really use that tool, but it's there. If you left click and drag, you can paint multiples, or a left click you can mute, and right click and drag, sorry, will delete. You won't be able to delete. So if we had, let me change that tool, sorry. Let's change that to the drum paint tool, where we can have like multiple notes on top of each other. So if we were going to do chords, we were able to paint that in. What I just did then was left click and drag with the control and left click and drag, hold, and I can drag and select an area. I can then if I grab this draw tool, I can then drag them around, replace them, move them up and down. Or if I wanted to, I could can scale them down. So as you can see, if I hold control and I push up and down on my computer keyboard, that will just change the octave. So from C5, I can then go up to C6. As you can see, it changing on the left on that piano with the notes, down to C4, and I'll put it back up to C5. So you can jump a whole octave other than having to grab them and drag them up, you know, like so. Just other little easy tips for you. And then you use these slider bars up here. So if I wanted to zoom in or zoom out, sorry, I could stretch that out. That zoom right out. If I go right close in, I can go as close as possible. And if I wanted to like really finely adjust something, if I didn't want to quantize it, if I just wanted to sort of change it slightly or whatever, you know, you're going in and making a cut or something, then you can zoom right in using those tools. There is also this little box here in the corner where the 2 arrows are, which will change the size of each note. So if you're working on like a big, you know, if you're using chords and stuff, then you're going to want to be the notes to be a lot smaller, so you can see the depth and the width of what is shown on the piano itself. Right, so then you've got your other tools up here. Like I said, that's obviously the piano roll. That's the channel that I'm using. I think I went through this before. And then you've got the velocity settings, which is under the note properties, and then you have the channel controls. I'll go into this in a minute once we start recording something. We'll record a little piano piece down. So another thing is, when the piano roll is open, there's only one instance of it. So if I'm on the piano roll, which is that, I shouldn't really call it. I'll right click that, rename it, and just call that, just get rid of that and just call it piano because it's getting confusing. There we go. So it's here, it says piano, I could literally just click here and go to Hat 2 because we've already got something there. I'm just Control and then scrolling backwards to zoom out. There. But obviously there isn't 2 instances of the piano roll. So you're not going to get double. You're only going to see 1 instance of the piano roll. It's just depending on what channel that you're on. As such, so like there we go. This selecting these channels here will not change it. It will literally have to be a right click and choose the piano roll, or have that on and then possibly click in there at the piano roll. There we go, and it's chose that channel. So, but what we want is this channel. We could record straight into the piano roll if we really wanted to, just on pattern mode. But I think for this tutorial, I'm going to put it in and we'll record straight in through the playlist. So first, let's get rid of the piano roll first. So I've got 2 different drum patterns, like I said before. Let's create a third, and then we'll right click that pattern 3, and we shall call this piano. So that's our piano. So we're going to record that on a separate channel so it doesn't get mixed up. Let's open up the playlist. Here's the playlist here. I think let's have a check. Yeah, F5, there's a shortcut for the playlist. So here's the playlist. As I said before, a lot of the toolbar settings up here are very much the same, and it's laid out quite the same. There's here all your different tracks. I think it goes up to something stupid. Yeah, there we go. 199 tracks. I'm not sure if you can get more or if you'd need more. But yeah. So a lot of the same settings, the painting jobs, the deleting, the selecting, the resizing is exactly the same as what I just explained within the piano roll. So let's lay down these 2 separate drums we've got. So we could either select up here what pattern we would wish to have. As you can see, as I scroll up here through these ones, either with left click and drag or with scrolling through my mouse scroller, you'll see here that it changes, so it automatically changes to that. So I'm on drums 2, go here to drums 1. So when I've got my paintbrush out and I'm painting, it's going to insert drums 1. Alternatively, I can change here and go, right, I want drums 2, and then paste it there. So we've got our 2 separate drum patterns laid up next to each other. We're still on pattern mode, so let's switch off of pattern mode and go to song mode. And as you can see, our time markers come up there, so we can now shuffle through. So now what we want to do, if we play this now, it would literally go all the way to the end of here and then loop back round again. If there was something over here, then it's literally going to play from here, and it will just keep playing until this pattern here is finished and there's nothing after that pattern, and it will loop back round. So this will loop from here. So let's go on to our piano pattern. We're going to record straight into the playlist. So we're right at the start. If you want to make sure, just double check, hit the stop button up here, and it will reset us right back to the start of the song. We'll hit the record button. We'll make sure that we've got our channel that we want to record is selected, which is a piano, which is what I want. Let me just show you how I got FL keys up. I forgot about that. If you push the plus button down here, which will add a new channel, you can also come up here and say add channel. And there's various other ways to do it as well through the browser also, but that's a bit of a more long-winded way. So literally you can just click the button here, or you can right click over this and go replace, and we'll go FL keys, because you will have that as well. So we've got FL keys up here. This is the channel settings for FL keys. As you can see, you can just left click on this and that will play the different keys down here. Right, avoiding everything else, we're literally going to send it to a track. So currently it's on track 4 for some reason. I must have had that set up already. So it's going to come out, unless if you created it as new, then it will come out and it'll be under the master track. So let's go and open the mixer, F9. So here we have the mixer. I've got a few things set up already for the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. So here we have, I've already labeled one piano. So let's put that in to channel 4. So we go back to the channel settings under FL keys, and then you see here it says track. You can either scroll up with your scroller on your mouse, or left click and drag. So now that's highlighted on channel 4 piano. I've set up a reverb for it. I've enhanced it. I've put a bit more wetness onto the sound. I've cut out some of the low end. I've increased the size and increased the decay as well, just to give it a bit more ambience, a bit more atmosphere. We'll go into detail more into the next episode of the tutorial series on the mixer, and we're going a bit more in depth on that. But back to the piano, here we are. So I'm on track 4. I've set that up. I'm on my FL keys. You'll see it selected here. I'm on the right pattern, so I'm recording onto my piano pattern here, but it will also show up in here once I'm done, when I'm recorded, because I want to record for the length of these two different drum patterns here. So I've got the record button on. I've got my timer to count me down, four-step timer, and all I need to do is push play, and it will count me down, or hit the space bar. So just give this a quick run through. Hopefully I can hit this first time. There might be a little bit of a latency because of the buffer settings that I've got from not having to for using the FL ASIO driver, because I can't use my own audio interface because of the tutorial I'm recording with my microphone, etc. Blah blah blah. But yeah, just quickly lay down some piano, and then we'll go for a little bit more in the piano roll. Right, so hit spacebar again, and I'll stop that. So here we go. So on our piano pattern, we can see that it's come, all the notes that I played in there is recorded straight into the piano, the piano roll. And there we have it. That's what I was playing then. That's come straight up in there and logged them straight in. It's also created the pattern within the playlist over where I was recording. So it saves us having to put that in. But let's close that down for now, and let's go back into the piano roll. Right, so first off, these are the notes I played, as you can see. And then under here, it's currently set at velocity for under the note properties. So these are all the velocities from 0 to 100, or I think it actually goes over 100. No, it is 0 to 100. You can see it up here. It will tell you the velocity strength there. So if we go right to the top, yeah, look, 0 to 100. So from 0 there straight up to 100. As you can tell on that last one I played it, you could tell when I was playing it, the velocity was quite high, and that third chord was quite low. So even though we're on song mode, we can actually come in here and choose to play exactly where we want to from, just to get a listen. But first, let's just tidy up these notes a bit. See, a little bit too early there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the snap settings. I'm going to go to none, and I'm just going to drag these across here, like so, and just sort of roughly fit them in. Like, I'm not going to polish them up completely. I don't like to completely polish them anyway, because it takes away the human aspect, the realness of playing an instrument, or otherwise it just sounds too computerized for me. You want to make it sound a bit more realistic in my eyes anyway. So I'm just left click and dragging with control left click and drag, and I'm just going to expand these notes for their decay to go down to their sustain. Sorry, because I haven't got my pedal on, my sustain pedal at the moment, so I'll just stretch those out to give a bit more realism. Just going to turn off the record, because otherwise it's going to start recording again. So let's stretch this one out quick. Give that a little stretch out. Let's select those. If you need to zoom in, control and scroll on your wheel, remember. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's drag those out a bit. That's right. It's weird because I'm not actually sort of strumming through. I'm sort of putting pressure on those two and then there. So yeah, that's my playing. That's quite bad. Right, so let's stretch those out to the end. Here we have it. Nice, nice, nice. And then this one here, let's just drag that out a bit, and then just finish off the end a little bit. That'll do. If you end up going over this line here from what you're using, so if we go back to the playlist, that line will actually be protruding over the end of the hit. And if you were going to play that in pattern mode, that would, I think that continually plays from there on. So let's just have a quick look. Oh no, it doesn't. There are some instances where if your notes in your piano roll are actually playing over here, over the last note on your pattern, then it will continue. Yeah, as you can see, it does there until it comes to the next full beat. So let's just tidy that up and bring that back. See that bottom note's hanging. Just bring that out a little bit. There we go. That'll do. Lovely stuff. Zoom out a bit. Right, so as you can see, I've still got the velocity problem here. Go back on song mode. Just have a quick listen. Okay, that first and second one's not too bad. That drops a bit. That's the chord itself. Yeah, so the third one's definitely way too high. So what sort of velocity are these guys on? Okay, it's quite a varied mix. So if I see that one, I'm just gonna compare the two, and basically I'll double click up here. We'll enlarge it, make it work better. So let's compare these ones. That one's there, the lower one's up around there, so let's drop that down about there. I'm just going to compare these sort of notes, right? So the top one, what about there? There. The middle one, I'm going to adjust to about there. Up there. And then the bottom one on that chord is roughly just above there. Okay, so it's roughly about there. Still quite loud, but... So some more fiddling on the velocity on that. I would re-record that again. I just don't like. I'd rather just try and get it played out perfect, or not perfect enough. Nothing's perfect, but I prefer doing it on the fly like that, rather than having to tweak all this around. This is cool for like a bit of post production, like cleaning these up, like getting a real nice sound to it. I'll do that maybe later on, but I like to work with things that are already sort of really clean, so I don't have to. It'd be quicker for me to re-record this than it would for me to mess around with all of this. So for now, I'm just going to leave that as it is. So here, there we go. We've got our piano roll. We've just recorded in there. We can change the. You know about the velocity now. You can also chop these up if you really want to. You can use it for various reasons. Say we wanted another note here, we can stretch. Oh, I'm not on snap to line. Let's change that snap to line, and I can cut it there. And this is what it will slice it exactly where on the because I'm snapping on the line. It will cut it across that line and create. It will half it, or cut it, and create another notes out of that. So. Which would save you having to paint more notes in, but can also be used for a number of different reasons for just cutting things down. I use it often within the playlist itself. If I've got a drum set here, I usually separate all my different types of drums. So my hats will be on a separate pattern, my kicks will be on a separate pattern, my snares will be on everything. I usually keep on a completely separate pattern. So if I want to cut a few things out along the way, say if I wanted to just cut out the hi-hats within like a drum, so here, say if I wanted to like completely just eradicate from this number here, for argument's sake, from 6 to 7, I just want to cut out the hi-hats for some reason, or the snares, just to have that little variation within the beat. I don't have to like try and pick them out of here. I can literally just go and, all right, okay, there's my hats. Say this was just the hi-hats, and I go, right, get my slice tool out. I don't want it from there to there, so I could just slice those out using left click on making sure that it's snapped to line, and just literally choosing that and just right clicking and deleting it. So then that would have removed all of my my hi-hats from that area if there was on a separate pattern. So that's another very useful tool when you're sort of coming down to mix and master not necessarily master, but mixing your track down and choosing your arrangement and stuff, and cleaning it up or making it fulfilling, doing all the little bits which makes the track stand out so much more, and it gives it that energy and that vibrance to make it feel alive. All these little tools that can help you out. So I hope that's helped you out a bit for the general use of the piano roll, and the very general use of how to use like the playlist and piecing things together. If you have any questions, or you want to know anything further, please leave a comment on the videos below. Like just comment, ask questions, whatever. Send us an email. and or wait for some more tutorials that will be coming soon as well. I'm planning on doing my next one. I'm going to do the mixer, talking about the mixer as such, and adding effects to channels and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helps out, and keep tuned. If you like the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe for more beats and for more tutorials that are coming up. So yeah, thanks for watching, and take care.